Action!
Wait, we're now here in Kenya.
And in this video, we're gonna show you the do's and don'ts kapag magsasafari kayo dito sa Kenya!
Hey there, poor traveler, I'm Yosh, and Vince and I have been travel blogging for almost 15 years. Very recently, we've just ticked countries number 56, 57, 58, and 59 off our bucket list. And the highlights were definitely the safari drives. But these tours are not easy and not like your ordinary sightseeing trip. They're not the most affordable either. So, the fewer mistakes, the better. And in this video, we'll share with you some of the things that you should and shouldn't do when joining a safari. But before we dive into them, if you're new to this channel, we consistently publish informative travel videos like this. So please subscribe to this channel, ring the bell beside it, and select also always updated whenever we have new uploads. Our goal is to hit 200,000 YouTube subscribers before the year ends. If you're watching this on Facebook, we're on the road to 2 million followers, so don't forget to like and follow this page too. It's easy to approach a safari the same way you would any other trip, and that would be your first mistake. Safaris are vastly different, and there are things that you have to really think about. So in this video, we're gonna share with you some do's and don'ts that you might want to remember. Number 1, don't fall for scams. The internet is rife with accounts of people who got scammed by bogus tour operators, and many of them are still pretty recent. Some are honeymoon trips that were completely ruined by fraudsters who run away with their money. And mind you, these safari tours are not cheap. And in most cases, you have to settle both the down payment and the balance before you even arrive in Kenya or any other country. Most of the time, in most cases. But to be honest with you, up until I saw our first lion, I was still having doubts in my head. I was like, what if we get scammed? Are we getting scammed? I just couldn't shake it off because, you see, I didn't know anyone in Kenya at all. And no one in my circle had any recommendation or contact there. So, I just relied on reviews on online forums and Facebook groups. Of course, now, in retrospect, I realized just how risky it was. But thankfully, the company that we ended up booking was legit and we still had a grand time. At this point, you're probably asking, so, Yosh, what company did you book? And the answer to that is Mufasa Tours and Travels Ltd. The initial quote that they gave us for a 6-day safari for 8 travelers was $1,510. That's per person. Inclusive of the vehicle, the driver, guide fee, all resort accommodations, and all meals. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner, plus airport pickup and drop off. So before and after the safari tour. That's the most basic option. So these entail budget accommodations, and the vehicle to be used was supposed to be a van that could accommodate up to 8 people. But some members of our group backed out, and we needed to find replacements. And by the time everything was finalized, some of the original target resorts that we were initially eyeing were already fully booked. So we ended up upgrading to more expensive resorts, and we also upgraded from van to 4x4 land cruisers. We realized that we want a more comfortable experience. Like 8 people in one van could be a little crowded for us. In the end, we all paid $1,650 per person. So that's around, Okay, so that's around 93,000 Philippine pesos per person. And note that flights to and from Kenya are not yet included. So that only covers the safari. So imagine, if we were scammed, we would have lost $1,650 per person, or a total of 13,200 USD, or around 745,000 pesos for all 8 of us. That's a lot of money, right? So yes, make sure you're transacting with a legit tour operator. By the way, this is not sponsored by Mufasa. We paid for our safari in full. But if you're from the Philippines, I understand that you might still have trust issues transacting with a foreign company. Of course, you cannot trust like the words of one person alone. So consider booking a local travel agency instead. But pick a reputable one. One of them is Constellation Travels. They also offer Kenya tours. Of course, it will be pricier, especially by default, because number one, they include flights to and from the destination country. Number two, most tour packages from the Philippines, they usually bundle Kenya and Tanzania in one tour. And they're also longer. Like, it's usually like 8 to 10 days because you will be covering two countries. And number three, they always tend to be on the safe side and pick more upscale resorts. But most tours can be customized. So you can request for cheaper accommodations or simpler or shorter itineraries. It's really up to you. But the great thing about booking with Constellation Travels or other reputable local agency is that they are registered here in the Philippines. So if something happens, something untoward happens, someone will be accountable for you here. So meron kayong hahabulin. Hala, bigla akong nagtagalog. And you also have easy access to customer support. So for inquiries, contact this number or email them at this address. So you'll see it here. Again, to be clear, our Kenya Safari was not sponsored, but we have a good relationship with Constellation because they help us update our visa posts on our website. But if you want to do it DIY, you could, but these tour packages are really for those who don't want to deal with all the planning because it's not easy to put together a safari tour, especially if you're a big group. Trust us, it took us months to finally get things going. Number two, don't expect a smooth ride. And we mean this in many ways. Not all national parks are the same. In Kruger National Park in South Africa, most major roads are paved. But in Kenya, calling the roads bumpy is a major understatement, especially in Masai Mara. As you seek out wildlife, expect to be shaken quite a bit. The guides even have a term for it. African massage, but it's anything but relaxing. By smooth ride, we also mean figuratively. It's not uncommon for tires to go flat and wheels to get bogged. It's part and parcel of a safari. It comes with the territory. And even before the trip, accept that things will not always go as planned and some aspects of the trip are out of your control. Most tourists join an Africa safari with one goal in mind, to see all of Africa's Big Five, considered the continent's most iconic safari animals. These are the lion, the elephant, the Cape buffalo, the rhino, and the very elusive leopard. Your guides will do everything in their power for you to see them, but it is not guaranteed, especially if you only have a few days. If you don't spot them all, it's okay. Just have a great time in the process. Number 3, don't wear dark, white, or inappropriate clothes. When going on a safari, you're encouraged to pack light and neutral colored clothes. Light because it can get hot at midday even in cooler months, but not white. Some national parks are very dusty. Case in point, Amboseli National Park. Amboseli in Swahili literally means salty dust, and yes, it's so dusty, your clothes could easily turn khaki or brown by the end of the day. I was wearing light-colored pants, not white but lighter than khaki, when I stumbled and fell near a waterfall in Nakuru, and it advertently got brown spots to match the surroundings. Neutrals or earth tones are recommended because bright colors are said to scare off wildlife, and dark clothing typically attracts insects. Another tip, avoid wearing dark and blue shirts. According to our guides, there's some truth to it, but much of it is overblown. Well, I'm not a scientist, so I don't know. But anecdotally, I can say the latter bit is true in my experience. You see, half of my wardrobe is black and blue, which are said to be attractive to flies. And there was a day, I think this was in Masai Mara, when both my friend Ro and I were wearing black, and we were the only ones complaining about flies.
Wait. We're now here. What? Kenya!
while the rest of our group claimed they were not bugged at all. Which brings me to this. Wear comfy pants or trousers. Not tight, but not too loose either. It will protect your legs from bugs. Don't overpack or underpack. In most cases, your luggage will be stowed in the same vehicle that you will be using. Most vehicles have a space in the back for luggage, but if you're a big group, some of the suitcases may be placed on the seats, so don't overdo it, don't overpack. Besides, in our experience, even the budget resorts are well equipped. But don't pack too light either. Here are some things that we urge you to bring. First of all, ask your tour operator if they would be providing binoculars or if they have one that they could rent out to you. Otherwise, bring your own. Binoculars will make your experience much more pleasant. Sometimes, the star animals are chilling or hunting too far away from the road that you won't be able to come close. And don't forget to bring a hat. Although you'll be spending most of your time inside the vehicle, it's open top so most of the rays still get in. A light jacket or windbreaker is also advisable because while it can get hot during the day, nights are often chilly in the parks. And an insect repellent lotion is also a good idea to protect yourself from mosquitoes. Speaking of mozzies, number 5, do double check vaccination requirements. If you're coming from the Philippines like I was, proof of vaccination is not required to enter Kenya. But according to the World Health Organization, Kenya is one of the countries with risk of yellow fever transmission, so it's best to be vaccinated before going and secure an ICV or International Certificate of Vaccination. Is yellow fever vax required to enter South Africa, Zimbabwe, or Zambia? If you're coming directly from Europe, US, or Asia, including the Philippines, no, you won't need an ICV for any of the countries that I mentioned. But if you're visiting or transiting in a country that is considered a yellow fever risk, then you'll be needing proof of vaccination. For example, our itinerary was Kenya, Zambia, Zimbabwe, South Africa. I didn't need to present my ICV when entering Kenya, but because Kenya is a yellow fever risk country and I visited it first, I was asked to present my ICV before boarding my flight to and at the immigration counters in Zambia, Zimbabwe, and South Africa. But let's say you're flying from Manila to South Africa with a layover in Dubai or Doha. For that, no need for an ICV. We have a separate tutorial video on how to get a yellow fever vaccination certificate in the Philippines, so just check it out. But these policies change over time, so always double check, triple check with the authorities to be absolutely certain. In many African countries, malaria is also a concern, so if you could get a vaccine shot or prophylaxis, do so. It's something that I failed to do because I found it challenging to find anti-malaria in Manila within the very small window that I had. I was traveling almost non-stop before our Africa trip, so don't be like me. Just get a hand of even just malaria tablets before you go. Number 6, don't dismiss the rules and warnings. When joining a safari, you'll be embarking on an adventure into the wild. You're the visitor and it is the animal's territory. It comes with a risk, so you better listen to your guides and heed their warnings because it's for your own safety. If your guide says you can't get off the vehicle, don't do it. If there is a lion just outside the vehicle, don't let your limbs or head dangle from the window because, for obvious reasons. Animals like lions and even something as gentle looking as elephants or giraffes can be unpredictable, no matter how cute they are. If you're staying at a camp within a national park, follow their policies. We once stayed at a riverside camp in Zimbabwe where going too close to the river is highly discouraged because of crocodiles and hippos, or even going out of our tent at night, even if it was just to go to the reception, because if we're unlucky, we could easily turn from guest to prey. So always follow the rules. Number 7. Don't be too loud. I read prior to the trip that too much noise frightened the game away, and it was proven true over and over again during our visit. Fortunately, most of us in our vehicle were introverted and generally quiet, so we would always catch a good look at the wildlife. But there was one group that was too loud, and every time their vehicle arrived, the animals would walk or run away. So if you want them to not leave and have more time admiring them at a good distance, just zip it. You don't have to be completely silent. It'll be hard to contain the awe, but just don't be too loud. Number 8, do tip your driver guide. And they will be driving you around the entire day for days just so you could have the best experience. So refrain from antagonizing or annoying your driver guides. Don't be rude or mean, and be considerate. In Kenya, the standard tip for a full day game drive is 10 to 20 USD per person per day. So let's say you'll be on a 6-day safari like we did. The expected gratuity is around $60 to $120 per person in total. In South Africa, we were told that the standard tips for safari guides on game lodges should be around 100 to 200 rand per day per guest. Higher for luxury camps or luxury lodges. Camp staff like bellboys and even the back of the house are also often tipped, especially in South Africa, which seems to have a strong tipping culture. So yes, make sure you have enough cash for tipping and make sure they're in lower denominations, because what happened to us was that we ran out of cash. So for other guides, we just sent them tips electronically. Our guide in Kenya, Dennis, once told us that he loved our group because we're just so chill. We weren't demanding at all, and best of all, that we took our time having lunch, which according to him was great for them because they also get to rest longer and recharge. Fun fact, drivers and guides work together to find the big five. You'll notice them talking on the radio or chatting with another driver as they pass each other. They're actually sharing scoops. When someone spots a leopard somewhere, they share it with the others, and it's like wide web of information. Number 9, don't scrimp too much. I know this tip is rich coming from a channel called The Poor Traveler, but the reality is, for many of us, a safari trip is a once-in-a-lifetime experience, so make the most out of it. Enjoy it as much as you could. The last thing you want is be miserable. So, when you're given a choice between a packed van and a smaller group in a Land Rover, consider the experience. If you're a big group sharing one vehicle, a few of you will not have a window view. So we stumbled upon that problem while planning this trip. So it was like 8 persons in one van versus 2 vehicles with 4 persons each. And we decided to just divide the group into 2 so everyone could be comfortable and everyone would have, the same view.
Pwede kasi isang van pero pinili nating dalawa. Bakit? Bakit?
Para lahat ay may window view.
Oo, yan.
Nabudol din tayo dito kasi bilangin natin yung seats na may window view. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So kung hindi tayo nag-2 vans, isa lang talaga yung walang window view. Okay ako Okay, willing ako.
Agree. Hindi kasya yung bag.
Hindi kasya yung bags. Yun yung problem. Kasi ang daming, lahat may dalang luggage.
Ano ba talaga? Ayaw yung bata, dalawa o isa? So, ang okay kasi, pag konti lang kayo sa bag, pwede kayo magmuni-muni. Parang ganito. Muni-muni ka. Doon sa... So yung maging director? Ito.
And if you could afford it, book that hot air balloon ride. Yes, it's expensive, but it is very magical and truly unforgettable. That said, don't splurge all the time. Know that some stops may be tourist traps, and it would do you good if you also know how to say no sometimes. Number 10, don't keep bad company. I know this sounds more like a life lesson than a travel tip, but this is crucial. Whether or not you'll enjoy your safari heavily depends on the people you'll be traveling with, especially if it's a 5 to 10 day tour. You'll be with them for most of the day. You'll be sharing a vehicle, meals, and most of the activities. Our guides once shared with us that many of their guests, especially couples on a honeymoon or celebrating an anniversary, often end up bickering or in an awkward fight for a whole lot of reasons. And we always say that travel is a test of a relationship, be it with a romantic partner, family, or friends. And, a multi-day safari tour takes that test to another level. So, to make sure you're gonna have the time of your life, choose companions that you truly like and love. In our next video, we'll be focusing on how we prepared for our safari trip in Kenya. If you don't want to miss more of our tips, subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet. Ring the bell and select all so you're notified when it's out. If you're watching this on Facebook, like and follow this page too. You can also follow us on Instagram, X, formerly Twitter, and TikTok. Just search at The Poor Traveler, single L. We also have a podcast. Follow the Poor Traveler podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. That's all for now. Remember, plan smart, travel safe, and make every trip worth it.